Greetings, programs. This is Wretch, and welcome back to Shadowrun Dragonfall. In the last episode, we had quite a fight on our hands. We took on the corrupted spirit of Fyrstel, which had been tainted by the enemy, and we fought both the spirit and Harrow. We were able to basically take them out and purify the spirit of Fyrstel, who felt very repentant for the acts that it had caused under the adversary's influence. And Glory has a new friend, as she apparently took the spirit into herself and now has somewhat of a healing effect. I have no idea. But I do know that things are on fire and we need to get all the cultists out, so plans have definitely changed. So let's head this way and see what exactly we're needing to do. Okay, things are on fire. Wait a minute, the cultists were over here, weren't they? On the other side of the building. Oh. Okay, there's rubble to clear. That's interesting. Let's go around here just to make sure we don't miss anything. Because I don't think there were any people in there. We had killed everyone in there. Oh, okay, we don't have a choice in the matter. It's not going to let us through that blockade. So, let's go ahead and... Alrighty. Hi, guys. As you kick the door open and stumble forward into the room, you find yourself surrounded by a sea of teenage faces. Initiates all huddled together and trembling. With the spirit's influence cleared from their minds, they look frightened and lost, like kids who have had their security blankets torn away. Glory steps forward. When she speaks, her voice is gentle. Come on, all of you. We're taking you to safety, someplace far away from here. A scrawny teenager in a ratty coat stares at Glory's crone, his mouth hanging slack. His voice cracks when he speaks. What happened to you? Your arms? Something that you'll never need to worry about. Come on, let's get the hell out of here. Marta cradles her head in her hands. Yes, let's. Oh, is that it? Oh, the Crucibassar. You thread your way through the trees of the Shongbok forest, tracing your way back to the thicket where you and Glory hid the van. The inferno that consumed Fyrstel is spreading, and the conflagration casts the forest around you in a sinister orange light. The heat at your back is intense, unbearable. Far ahead, Glory blazes a trail for you to follow, shredding the foliage in her path. Marta shepherds the shell-shocked initiates along behind you, doing what she can to keep them calm and moving. The fire is moving fast, but you're faster. As Marta helps the last of the kids into the van, you put the vehicle in gear and punch the accelerator. The burning ruin of Fyrstel recedes into the distance, a glowing speck in the rearview mirror. The peace and safety of the Crucibassar lie ahead. That was a really cool mission. I dug that immensely. Alright, children, head your way up this stairway. It's going to be very dark. Don't fall and break your neck or anything, especially after all the trouble we just went through. Is it always like this? Yes, it's always like this. It's always dark. Okay, Karma Gain 2. New objective, raid 50,000 to pay Alice. Oh, there's 5 karma. That's nice. Is there anything that we can, raise? Doesn't look like it. None of our normal stuff, at least. And our guys can't get updated. And that's all that we need to do is just raise the 50,000. Let's do some walking around the Crucibassar first, before we go do anything else. Just to make sure. Phone booth. Yeah, it's like we're pretty much done with any quest for the Shockwellen Rider, I would imagine. Since we decided not to turn in that information on the blood magic. Now, let's check the vendor next to the safe house. Actually, so we can't talk to him anymore. Let's talk to Samuel. Okay. Same old stuff. I think we pretty much exhausted all of that really quickly when we gave him all that money when we really didn't need to. Let's see if Mallet has anything new. No new deck or anything. No new programs. Alright. Well, well. Well, let's head in here and talk to... I want to talk to the crew first, but let's try Blitz. As you approach Blitz, he gives you an easy smile. Hey, Chief, what's up? Well, any thoughts about the last run? Okay, so Blitz has nothing on his mind. And Samuel. Let's talk to Dietrich. Any updates on Alexander? Nothing new, boss. He's adjusting. It's going to take some time. Have you ever... Oh, we didn't actually ask Dietrich about the lodge. Let's see what he has to say. Lodge? He freezes up. Boss, do you mean the Black Lodge? I don't know. Maybe. Lodge was all that I heard. Let me describe him to you, and you can tell me if what I'm saying fits. Shadowy, powerful, secretive as hell, with deep pockets and a penchant for hiding the truth. They conduct all their business through dupes and go-betweens. He gives you a sideways glance. That sound about right? That's them in a nutshell, yeah. Well, if it's them and whoever you're talking about, I ain't saying it is, and I advise you to stay away from them. Stay far, far away. And whatever you do, don't take their money. If you do, they'll own you. I'll keep that in mind. Tell me what else you've heard about them. Well, the story is that the Black Lodge is the mother of all conspiracy. Supposedly, they've been around for hundreds of years, and they've been practicing magic since well before the Awakening. Impossible, I know, but I believe it. You ever heard of the Masons, the Knights Templar, the Bavarian Illuminati? They were all puppets of the Black Lodge. None of them knew what they were working or who they were working for, but the Lodge was there, pulling the strings. They always have been, and they still are today. That's the story. I didn't realize that you were a conspiracy theorist, Dietrich. I ain't, but I've been around long enough to know that I should trust my gut, and it's telling me the Black Lodge is real. Your mileage may vary, of course. Believe whatever you want. You already know what I think. Let's see. Alright, nothing new from Dietrich on that. I'm kind of glad now in retrospect that I told them to sod off. Let's go ahead and pet Dante. Here you go. That's a good boy. Alright, Iger. Wretch, what can I do for you? Well, we should talk about what happened with the engineer. She nods. Agreed. I'm ready to go over it if you are. So, the engineer was working for a secret society. I wasn't expecting that. Neither was I. She frowns. Part of me is still having trouble believing it, but it's true. Yuli wasn't lying. I could see it in his eyes. Have you been able to do any digging on Winter Night? No, there just isn't much reliable information out there. Whoever these guys are, they're very good at information control. None of my contacts could find anything but rumor and conjecture, and most of that is too crazy to even consider. How crazy are we? Oh, hold on. How crazy are we talking here? Completely insane. Stories about magical nukes and the end of the world, Fenris shamans, Ragnarok, that kind of thing. She shakes her head. Like I said, nuts. Well, there are a lot of crazy things going on in this world. That doesn't mean they're not real. She nods slowly. Yes, there are. And no, it doesn't. But this is too far out for me to accept. It's more than likely they released these stories themselves to throw people off whatever they're really doing. Anyway, we stopped them cold and shot a nest. Whatever their business is, whatever was going to be in those crates that the engineer was having shipped there, it isn't our problem anymore. The Cruise Bazaar is safe, on that front at least. Yeah, it is, and we've got you to thank for that. And you, don't downplay what you did back there. Anyway, we shouldn't let it go to our heads. We still have a dragon to worry about. When I left that room to search for clues, the engineer told you something. Something that pushed you over the edge. Her eyes narrow. That SOB said a lot of things. What of it? Let's see. Well, what do you think? I want to know what he told you. With all due respect, that's none of your business, Wretch. Isn't it? You beat the tar out of that man because of what he told you. As your team leader, I need to know why that happened. It takes her a long time to respond. When she does, her voice carries a tone of resignation. You really want to know? Alright, fine. I'll tell you. He told me about a bunch of Polish towns that my unit swept for syndicate activity. He told me how the mob poured back in right after we left, and what they did to the people who accepted our help. He told me about the beatings, the rapes, the killing rooms, and the torture, and worse. He relished in describing it, the relentless, hideous barbarism of it all meant to teach me some sort of lesson. I think that's the cruelest part of this entire story. Those people, they didn't need a lesson in how terrible life can be. They live with that every day. Yuli seemed to find all of this hilarious. Yeah, I know that he was pushing my buttons on purpose, and yeah, I know that he was trying to make me lose control, but the hell with it. He deserved a good beating. He deserved a lot more than that. Yuli didn't pull any punches, so I didn't pull any punches. If you have a problem with that, you can go and get screwed. Let's see. Cool down. We're both on the same side here. I know. Sorry. I guess I'm still a little on edge about this, which is exactly what Yuli wanted, of course. She grits her teeth. I just can't help thinking, what if he wasn't playing me? What if those things did happen? If I leave things where they stand, there'll always be some hope that he was lying. But if I dig into this and find out he was telling the truth, if I find out that none of what he did meant what we did meant anything. Well, you can't just leave it like this. A question mark. I know you, Iger. You're too strong to run from the truth. I'm not running from anything, fearless leader. I'm going to look into this, whatever it leads me. She looks you in the eye, but I'm not going to do it today. Well, when you're ready to start looking, you can call on me for help. I got your back, Iger. She nods. I know it, and I'm glad. Now, let's change tack. Is there anything else from the run that you'd like to go over? She folds her arms across her chest. If you have any thoughts, I want to hear them. Well, you said that you thought that you could reverse engineer that pulse grenade that you pulled from the engineer. Any luck with that? Yeah, actually. It wasn't too difficult to pull the thing apart and see what made it tick. She smiles. Making one of my own was a different story, but I got it in the end. She reaches into her desk and grabs a cylindrical object. Gently, she lifts it up and hands it to you. Meet the newest addition to my arsenal. I call it the Voltaic grenade. It's based on the same principles as the Russian pulse grenade, but with a few tweaks of my own. What sort of tweaks are we talking about? Mine has a lot more bite than the original. I bumped up the amperage quite a bit, and when that thing goes off, it'll both shut down the nervous system and cook the organs of anyone in its blast radius. Let's hand back the grenade nice and slow. Sounds nasty. She nods and tucks the weapon back into her desk. It is. You wouldn't want to be on the wrong end of one of these. For now, I've only managed to make one of these, but they aren't the easiest things in the world to manufacture, or the cheapest. She nods thoughtfully. But I should be able to scrounge up enough raw materials to put a new one together between each run. Nice, so we get one at a time. Sounds good to me. And that's pretty much all from Iger. Anything about the last run? Nothing, because they weren't there. Now, here's what I'm curious about. Glory stands, an introspective look on her face. At the sound of your approach, she turns to face you. She nods at you. Thank you for your help at Feuerstel. I couldn't have done it without you. Now, speaking of which, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. After all the things we saw in there, I'm not surprised. Go ahead, Wretch. I'm listening. Well, Haro got away, just like you said he would. She frowns. Yes, and he's already putting distance between himself and the Schaumburg forest. How do you want to go about tracking him? Finding Haro is going to be a full-time job. I can't track him down while we still have a great dragon hanging over our heads. And we've dealt with Volclair in the fire. After we've dealt with Volclair in the Fire Wing, I'll devote myself wholeheartedly to finding that bastard and finishing this. But for now, we need to keep our eyes on the road ahead. So what did you wind up doing with the cultists that we rescued? Did you send them to Samuel? No, he has enough to worry about keeping the people of the Crucipassar safe. Those kids that we rescued, They've been damaged by Haro's philosophies. They can get better, but it's going to take time. Trying to integrate them into our society too quickly would be dangerous. So where did they go? I took them to the talismonger, Algernon. He said that he knew a place where they could help. They could get help. It won't be easy for them, or quick, but they'll get better in time. Now, how are things going between you and Marta? She smiles sadly. They aren't. I'm glad she's still alive. In time she'll heal, but she has a lot of unwanted baggage to deal with. A lot of psychological trauma from the time she spent with Haro. She still worships him, you know. It was all that I could do to keep her from running off after him. So, where is she? Somewhere here in the Cruise Bazaar? No. I offered, but she wouldn't come. She still thinks of cities as places she needs to save people from. I don't know where she's going to wind up. I don't even think that she does. But when she gets there, she'll reach out to me. That much she promised. She looks away. Let's talk about something else, Wretch. I'd rather not dwell on this if I don't have to. Well, that's all. That answers all of my questions? Not really. I want to see about your new friends you have. Anytime, Wretch. And thanks again. I mean that. Oh, achievement unlocked. Moving on. Huzzah. Well, well. Oh, we have pay data, don't we? Let's head here to the mission computer. And we have no unread messages. Let's access the Shadowlands. And post Haro's bribe records. That'll put a kink in his step. Any claims? Ooh, we sold the Aztechnology DNA donor list. For a cool 540. I'll take that. Topics matching local keywords. F state protection. The writers have it on good authority that the Lobachashki Syndicate is eyeing Schottenest for expansion. For the good of the Flux, we should keep a watchful eye on this situation. See attached files for more details. Okay, bad news for Schottenest, but if the Rambach isn't going to stop him, I hear Surf Turf is out of the picture. Well, I'm sure there's some Paula Club out there who wants that piece of the pie. I know we got enough of them. I know that Humanist has some presence there, but I doubt they'll fight the Russians too much. I'd say they're far more likely to form a partnership. No more post in this thread. So that was kind of a PS to Iger's quest. And now for energy sources. I've got solar panels like everybody, but does anyone have experience with these mana turbine services? I'm off the grid, so there's some times when I need to do some late-night decking or maintenance on my telescoping limbs. Is that the thing where a mage comes by and drops some juice into a generator? My buddy was telling me about them last week. The turbine spins the mana around and the charge lasts for weeks, he said. They're a scam, chummer. That mage is going to be out of there with your money before you realize how much power you've actually got. You're better off peddling a bike battery. Okay. And there's the jobs directory. View all pending. That's the pharma cleanup job. We're not doing that one because it's morally irrehensible. Now we're going to go ahead and finish the Alice Fund, but first let's talk to Paul and see if there's any new information he can give. Wretch, greetings. Amsel peers at you through a battered old pair of wire-rimmed glasses. Oh. Okay. I need your password to transfer Alice's payment onto a cred stick. Okay. Amsel sucks in a deep breath. He suddenly looks as though an enormous weight has been lifted from his shoulders. Yes, very good. Excellent, in fact. This has been a long time coming, Wretch. You're telling me. Amsel turns to open a file on his computer. All right, Wretch, before you make this transfer, there are a few things that you should know. Firstly, this is a one-way operation. Once the funds have been transferred to the cred stick, the only person who will be able to access them is Alice. As far as the team is concerned, the money will simply disappear. Now, are you sure that we can trust Alice? I don't want these 50,000 nuyen to go by. I am. Believe me, her reputation in the shadow community is worth far more than 50,000 nuyen. She'll deliver the information that she promised. He shrugs. Besides, what other choice do we have? We cannot run, and money will do us little good if we're dead. I suppose that's true. Okay, keep going. What was the second thing? Secondly, once you make your way to the rabbit hole with the funds, it's go time. I trust that you understand what I mean by that. Yep, I got it. It's pretty self-explanatory, Paul. Alright, just remember, once you leave to see Alice, her information will be your only priority. No more distractions and no more side work. I will busy myself canceling your remaining jobs and smoothing any ruffled feathers. Makes sense. Anything else? Just that you need to be sure before committing to this. Time is important. A great dragon wants us dead, and that is not a thing to take lightly. But you shouldn't return to the rabbit hole unless you are prepared to act. If you have any doubts, then I'd urge you to wait. Okay, I don't think we're ready on this yet. Alright, so we know that it's a one-way trip. So let's just check the mission computer one more time, and I'm going to go ahead and check all the other stuff. Alright, transfer 50,000 to Alice's secured cred stick for payment. Oh, okay. So we did need to go ahead and talk to Paul anyway. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go ahead and check around town and see if there's anything else that we can do. And if I find something, we'll flash there. Otherwise, I'll be right back. Alright, I went around town and it looked like everything hadn't changed at all. So let's go ahead and hand this off to Paul. I'm ready to go see Alice, Paul. It's password time. Excellent. The password is Volklingen. Once you're en route to the rabbit hole with the funds for Alice's payment, I'll cancel the team's remaining obligations. Understood. I have to say, Wretch, this lifts an enormous weight off my shoulders. When Monica brought you on board, I was initially unsure about you. I would never have said that to anyone else, of course, but I kept you under a watchful eye. I can see now I needn't have doubted her judgment. She chose her successor well. Now please, go fetch the information from Alice. He claps a hand on your shoulder. We're one step closer to surviving this mess. Alrighty, it is time. And, oh, looks like we had a few new... Hold on, let's see here. Just making sure. Alright. Let's check the status of the Alice Fund and transfer the 50K. Oh, we actually have to... Great. Where are we at here? Mission items. Volklingen. Volklingen. The funds disappear from your account. The money! Moments later, a message pops up on the screen. Transfer complete. Sitting in its dock on the keyboard, a green LED blooms to life on Alice's cred stick. The trigger has been pulled, and the rabbit hole awaits. Alrighty. Well then. And it looks like everything else has pretty much shut down, and we are ready to go. Now... Yeah, we gotta head to the U-Bahn tunnel. First up, I'm gonna check the vendor one more time. All I need to do is check Mallet. If she has new stuff, then I'm pretty sure everyone else does. I would just like to think that we'd be a little bit more well-equipped before heading into this. So let's see what we got here. Okay, no new decks or anything. Yeah, no new armor, no nada. Could be worse, though. If it's time, it's time. Are you coming with me, Dante? They don't got a chance with you, with me, boy. And, yeah, travel to the rabbit hole at the Altstadt-Spandau U-Bahn station to retrieve Alice's data. Now, I'm curious about this. Where exactly this is going to take us. It's been a really good game so far, I have to say. And we are sitting here in the dark. There we go. The tiny cred stick feels heavy in your pocket, fat with the weight of hard-won nuyen. The U-Bahn station swallows you up and sends you hurtling down the rabbit hole, towards Alice, towards the information you've bled for. The train pulls to a stop and the doors hiss open to the dark old platform. With luck, answers lie ahead. Hopefully we don't get swerved at the last moment. That's very appropriate for Shadowrun. Watch, and everyone's dead. Yeah, that's an old Tron cabinet. That is so awesome. Alice's console stands alone against the filthy wall of the U-Bahn platform. The colorful sprites that flicker across the screen stand in sharp contrast to the surrounding grime. Let's insert the payment. The cred stick port in the machine greedily accepts your payment. You watch as the black plastic of the cred stick case disappears into the console. Moments later, the familiar sight of Alice's office winks onto the screen. Something is wrong here. You can see it in Alice's face. Her eyes are open just a little too wide, her smile just a little too forced. It's a look you've seen before all too often. Underneath her polished exterior, Alice, the Alice, is terrified. Alice, what's going... Hold a moment, I'm transferring your payment now. Alice's attention is fixed on the PDA mounted to her wrist. A moment passes, then she nods, lowers her arm, and shifts her gaze to you. Her smile looks forced, and her eyes keep darting back to the clock on the wall. Everything seems to be in order. Good. Transferring the payment. Tell me what's going on, Alice. Now. Without a word, she bends to grab something from under her desk. A moment later, she lifts an aluminum briefcase onto the desk. Your information. She flips the case onto the desk and shoves it towards the camera. As the briefcase grows larger on the screen, you can hear the whine of motors spinning up in the arcade cabinet's guts. With a smooth mechanical motion, a generic brand optical chip slides out of the pavement port in front of you. Alice kicks her seat back and stands. Her movements are becoming more and more erratic. Your answers are on the chip. She checks the clock again. Now, if you excuse me, I have to run. Where are you running from, Alice? She pauses, then takes a deep breath and exhales it out slowly. Tries to calm herself, but the panic wins out and she begins to tremble. You'll find out. And Wretch, a free piece of advice. You should drop your search for Valclair. Drop it now and run far, far away. If you don't, you're going to get yourself killed. She leans in to stare into the camera. On the screen, you can see that her eyes are badly bloodshot. And stay out of the Matrix, Wretch. It isn't safe. Abruptly, the screen goes black. Alice is gone. The optical chip sits in its cradle, waiting for you to take it. Okay. The instant that the chip leaves its cradle, the machine reboots itself. You are again alone. So something bad has happened to Alice here. However, we do have a lot of karma, so we can start pumping up our stuff. Body, we have 6. Next up is quickness. So let's get our quickness upgraded. Confirm. Still have 3 karma to spend. And let's head see exactly what's going on. As you settle in for your trip back to the Cruise Bazaar, you can feel the rest of the world compartmentalize and fall away. No more distractions, just you, the train, and the optical chip. It sits in your pocket like a hot stone, impossible to ignore. The train ramps up to speed, filling the air with a monotonous electric whir. The sound is soft and low and urgent, like the droning wings of an enormous insect. It'd be smoothing if your mind weren't occupied with other matters. All at once, the monotony is broken. Your PDA is buzzing. A quick glance at the screen tells you that you're receiving a call and Paul Amsel is on the other end. Now let's answer the call. You hit the receive button on your PDA. One look at the grainy image that blossoms to life on the screen is enough to tell you that something has gone terribly wrong. The strangled sounds of panic breathing punch through your PDA's tiny speakers. In the image window, you can see the outlines of figures silhouetted against the backdrop of Amshel's shop. The view rotates, bringing them toward the center of the frame. Oh, hell. The image sharpens. In the center of the screen stands an enormous orc in battle armor, a hand cannon leveled at something just out of frame. His face is a shiny mat of grafted tissue, his smile like something out of a nightmare. Say nothing. You watch powerless as the orc's grin widens. The frantic breaths that you hear coming from off-screen increase in frequency. From off-screen, you hear Amsel's frantic voice. Audrin, please, tell me what this is all about. What are the Firewing's plans? You're going to kill me anyway. Don't send me to the grave without... Oh. Your stomach drops as the gun bucks and roars in the orc's hands. Your view on the PDA pitches wildly, then comes to a sudden stop with a violent cracking sound. A burst of static floods the screen. Moments later, a dark shape falls into view with equivalent force. You hear the unmistakable sound of bone crunching against hardwood. The camera auto-adjusts and the dark shape swims into focus. You're staring into and through the dripping, cavernous ruin of what was once a human head. The remnants of the face that remains are enough to confirm what your gut already knows. The body on the screen is that of Paul Amsel. From out of the frame far away, you can hear another voice, a woman, young from the sound of it, with a military cadence. What now, sir? Now we press our advantage. Jam their comms, Ortega. The sound of hurried motion recede into the background. All right, remember, people, Amsel was the brains of the operation, but the rest will put up a lot more fight. Flush them out and take them down, one by one. Another voice chimes in, a young man this time. Sir, look at Amsel's wrist, the PDA. I think that it's recording. Damn it! You hear the sound of another gunshot and the screen goes dark. Your vision swims and the screen on your PDA seems to fade away. The impact of what you've witnessed hammers you in the gut over and over again. Amsel is dead, and the Cruise Bazaar is under attack, and it's entirely possible that an ambush party is already waiting to meet you at the U-Bahn platform. Whatever your attackers have planned, you won't be able to do much about it from here. The train is speeding toward the Cruise Bazaar station. No more stops between you and the enemy. Nothing to do but prepare yourself and wait. Oh. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you liked the video, go ahead and click like down below. Subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. That'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.